One thing that wrestlers used to have back in the day was either mainstream appeal or, at the very least, the possibility of mainstream appeal. Nowadays, they have absolutely nothing going for them. In fact, they're complete jobbers with honestly no real career prospects. It's been what, like 5, 6 years at least since we've heard that Roman Reigns was going to go to Hollywood? This guy is never going to make it in Hollywood. People were like, oh, this guy's going to leave WWE. No, he's sticking around doing nothing with his life. And periodically he shows up and hits people with a chair, does a Superman punch, and then is gone for another 4 to 6 weeks. Now, if he's happy with that, which I suppose why wouldn't he be? He's getting paid, right? Good for him. I got nothing but love for people that are doing easy things to make money. I appreciate that. I call that being savvy. But the fact of the matter is, and the fact remains, that Roman Reigns, is someone that was supposed to be this big mainstream star, and quite frankly, he isn't. Oh, but hater, he's really big in India. Nobody gives a shit about what's big in India, okay? Nobody gives a rat's ass what is big in India or big in Japan. If you ain't big in the US, you ain't big at all. I got news for you, pal. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. That's why every actor tries to become big in Hollywood, except for a few notable exceptions. But those people are a different level, and quite frankly, Roman Reigns is not on that level either. So the fact of the matter is, if you walk down Main Street in your town and you ask 10 people, who's this guy? They'll be like, is that Jason Momoa? They don't even know that guy well. They'll be like, shit, is that Khal Drago? They're going to be like, is that Aquaman? That's what they're going to say because nobody knows who the fuck these people are, right? The fact of the matter is, there are no more, real celebrities. Now, that's neither here nor there. I don't think anybody really gives a rat's ass about, Roman Reigns or anybody else for that matter. But WWE keeps operating as if these people are mainstream. They're trying to make Cody happen. Cody is not going to happen, motherfucks. You're never going to make fetch happen. Cody Rhodes is not a full-time big deal celebrity, and you can't turn him into one in a few years. When he was in AEW, they tried to do the same thing. Nobody knew who the fuck this asshole was. So what did they do? They gave him his own show. Rhodes to the top. Nobody watched that shit at all. Nobody gives a shit about Cody. Nobody gives a shit about Brandy. You know what I mean? She's good looking and that's about it. Nobody gives a fuck. And then afterwards, they made him the judge on that show hosted by Bert Kreischer, right? It's like a talent show, but for untalented people. It was really weird. And he's there and he's acting like he's fucking Simon Cowell. And this guy's supposed to be a big deal. And now he's going to play Guile. He's going to humiliate himself a little bit there as well. This guy is not a mainstream star. No matter how many times they want to say he is, he just fucking isn't. And then we have the other wrestlers that are currently in WWE that could be argued are, quasi-main eventers. I mean, WWE would argue they are main eventers, but you got people like Gunther, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins. These guys are virtual, complete unknowns, right? They are unknowns. Nobody knows who the fuck Gunther is. I dare you, motherfucks. Go to the mall with a picture of Gunther and ask 100 people, who is this guy? Probably no one will know. I mean, you might run into a wrestling fan, but otherwise, no one will know. Ask 100 women who Gunther is, right? Since women are less likely to watch wrestling. Nobody's going to know who he is. This guy has a zero mainstream appeal. If you were around in 1998 and you walked around asking people who is Kevin Nash, everyone would know. If you ask 100 people at the mall, 75 easily would know exactly who he is. Because people were mainstream. Nowadays, nobody knows because nobody cares about Gunther, right? Guy's never drawn a dime. He's been gone for 3 months. Nobody's noticed. Think about it. Ever since he won the King of the Ring, he's had maybe 10 matches since then, and nobody gives a shite about Gunther. Nobody cares about wrestling anymore. It's not mainstream. Now, there are implications for this. One of the implications is when you have a pay-per-view like Crown Stool, which is coming up, and you have people like Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins arguing about who's the future of this company. That's nothing to be proud of. Being the future of this company effectively is the same thing as being a complete mediocrity. It's like being the future of ROH at this point. Nobody knows who the fuck these guys are, right? Wrestling is predicated primarily on star power. The idea is these are alphas. These are people that everyone knows because everyone envies or otherwise admires. And that's not the case anymore, you know? I was told how much of a big star Kenta was in Japan. I go to Japan, they have like some, New Japan event there. There's like billboards of Okada, right? Billboards, like small billboards. Nobody gives a shit. The tickets were like $29. Nobody cares, motherfucks. Nobody cares about any of this aside from a few people left in the United States and apparently India, where Roman Reigns is a massive star. But the reality is that in the big world that we live in, the world, the WWE universe, let's call it what they call it, cuts. In this world, we have to recognize the realities and the limitations of the current wrestling product. Nobody is enticed by it. So when Roman Reigns goes away for another 6 weeks and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins have to argue as to which one's the future of WWE, it's like, bro, this shit's not gonna last for much longer. And no 40-year-old man can be the future of WWE, right? No 40-year-old man can be the future of anything athletic, right? Because you need younger guys. And now, Cody Rhodes is like the veteran. You know? Stardust, motherfucks, is the veteran. Hey, good for him. He made it. I give him props. But the fact of the matter is, in making it, he lowered the standard once again. Seth Rollins has been lowering the standard since he debuted. And the standard now is complete nobodies. So when they argue who's the future, it's like, bro, if someone like The Rock were to come along, they would be the future immediately. They would fucking vault over these two jabrones, right? The problem is nobody like the likes of Brock Lesnar is attracted to WWE anymore because there's no possibility to become a superstar, right? Like look at Jack Swagger. He's a great example, right? Jack Swagger is a guy, he was a good amateur wrestler. He had the capacity, apparently it's so it would turn out, to go and join like MMA. Nobody gave a shit. He's like, I'm going to go into MMA. Nobody cared at all, right? He had 3 meaningless fights in Bellator, and the only one that benefited was he himself, right? WWE or AEW didn't benefit from Jack Swagger having a tangential, career as an MMA fighter, right? Nobody got any good PR from this because nobody cared about Jack Swagger. When people tuned in to watch the fight, like maybe like 15, 16 people bought the pay-per-view to see Jack Swagger. Everybody else was just there to watch MMA. So when Jack Swagger came out, they're like, oh, that guy looks oddly familiar, but I don't know where he's from. So he's just another MMA fighter to me. When Brock Lesnar did MMA, right? Like the whole world stopped for a second. They're like, wait a second, motherfucks. Did we hear that correctly? The man beast is doing MMA? Who is his first victim? That's what everyone was asking. They're like, who is Brock Lesnar going to completely destroy and dominate in his UFC debut? Turns out he was going to get his ass whooped by Frank Mir. Well, he's going to get submitted by Frank Mir, but you know what I'm saying, right? Now, the point is, the world stopped moving, and I will say this, to his credit, CM Punk, same thing. The world stopped a little bit. Not as much as it did for Brock Lesnar. Like, CM Punk was not going to be a main eventer, And also people just kind of tuned in to see CM Punk get his ass beat because he's so fucking annoying, and everyone was like, all right, it's time. Finally, this guy's going to get his ass handed to him in a matter of moments. It's exactly what happened. Everybody knew. But with Brock Lesnar, aspirations were high because he's a massive star. Brock Lesnar is a massive star beyond wrestling. He was a bigger star than the UFC, right? Brock Lesnar is one of the biggest stars in UFC history. Right there after like McGregor and fucking, Ronda Rousey. Oh, what about Ankalaev? What about Khabib? Nobody gives a fuck about these guys. They never drew a dime. What do you think of them apples? Right? The point is, nobody's exciting anymore, not just in WWE, but WWE, in my opinion, has always represented a microcosm of greater society, right? Nobody gives a shit. There are a few people that are good at what they do, but they're not stars either, right? The haters out there on Peacock. I watched Twisted Metal. It has that guy, Clarence. Remember Clarence from 8 Mile? He's an actor now. He's like a big deal now. Clarence, he's a charismatic guy. I don't even know his name. I'm just going to call him Clarence. I think it's like Anthony Mackie or Anthony McCaskey or some shit like that, right? Clarence is out there. He's doing a good job. I'm like, oh, this guy's going for the Will Smith thing. Like, he'll never achieve it. But like, hey, kudos to you, right? Then I realized this guy is also Captain America. Now there's like another Captain America. This guy looks like a fucking retard. He's like, his suit is like all flashy and shit. He's got wings. Fuck's that all about? But anyways, this guy's a new Captain America, and it's like nobody gives a flying fuck, right? Not that anybody cared about the old Captain America, but it's like, let's be real. Nobody gives a shit that this guy's playing Captain America, right? Anybody could be playing Captain America, motherfucks. And everybody would go there, to watch Captain America. Nobody gives a shit about the actor anymore. People just care about the movie. Same thing with wrestling, right? It's the same thing with UFC. Nobody gives a shit who's going to main event WrestleMania. They just want to see WrestleMania. And that is a shame. Because the entire philosophy of wrestling for a long, long time was, wow, I wonder who's going to main event WrestleMania, because that's going to determine who's going to get a push and who's going to be expected to carry this company forward. Now, that's not a thing anymore, although they're trying to make it one. Who's the future? Like, nobody gives a shit. Like, do you care at all? Like, honestly, if you're someone that's listening to this video, right, and aren't subscribed to the hater, first of all, subscribe right now. But, if you are, do you care if Cody Rhodes wins or if Seth Rollins wins at Crown Stool? Do you care at all? Like, does this excite you in the slightest? No. People would get into fights in middle school because some people liked Stone Cold and some people liked The Rock. People will get into fights because some people like WCW and some like WWF. Now, I'm not saying that was a good thing, but it showed that people cared. Now it's like, who gives a fuck, Now it's like, I don't give a shit who wins. Oh, Cody's the number one champion. Like, nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. They interact all the time. Nobody gives a flying fuck as to whether Cody wins or doesn't win. This is not exciting anymore. And that's the problem, motherfucks. If there's no excitement, why the hell would I give a rat's ass who the number one champion is? Why the hell would I care who the future of WWE is? It doesn't matter. WWE is going to do WWE shit. It's not like in the past where like someone was pegged to be like the number one guy, like the next big thing, Brock Lesnar. And you're like, wow, I have 15 years of Brock Lesnar to look forward to. Ultimately he left early, but you understand what I'm saying. Or when, like, for example, TNA signed Kurt Angle, you're like, holy shit, things are changing. Now I have Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles to look forward to. Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe to look forward to. I have things to look forward to. Now it's like, what? Cody Rhodes comes in, and what do you have to look forward to? Another Seth Rollins match? Come on, man. This is not exciting, and absolutely nobody cares about the outcome of this match. Quite frankly, like, I might watch it for the people so I can review it, but quite honestly, like, if it weren't for this channel, I wouldn't give a fuck at all. I wouldn't even Google who wins, right? And quite frankly, neither would you. You don't give a shit about this. The viewership is going to go down and down and down, but we're in it for the ride, motherfucks. We're in it till the end, till this company hopefully goes out of business, because at this point, I'm starting to think, fuck itself. You know what I mean? We need a reboot. Vince is only 80, motherfucks. Come back, Vince. But anyways, cucks, the point has been made. Wrestling is pretty much done, and quite frankly, nobody cares about who the future of WWE is. So with that being said, they can all go fuck themselves. What do you think of them apples? Cucks this?